My name is Jerry, I'm from Wild Eye, and I'm sitting outside. You can probably hear water in the background. I'm sitting at a coffee shop down from the office at the Design Quarter. I've got Trev and Marlon with me. Hello, gents.
He's lying. We're sitting in a forest, very secluded, up a mountain. Taken us 2 days to hike here, and behind us is a waterfall.
Okay, I'm going to just create context then, because when the waitress brings our cappuccinos and our muffins, it might be weird. Anyway, Trev, how's it going, man?
Yeah, all good, eh?
Like, how's your jacket? You're wearing a new Wild Eye jacket.
Yeah, it's nice, eh?
Nice.
Fairly warm.
Fairly warm.
Fairly warm.
Yeah, you just came back from Madikwa. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Cool.
Marlon, I know you're busy on your Instagram right now, but where have you been the last while? What was your last safari?
My last safari was a private safari to Mala and Londolozi in South Africa's Sabi
How long
Sands.
ago?
That was about 2 weeks ago.
Before then?
Before then, a stint in the office. I did Serengeti before that as well.
Yeah.
A little bit of a stint in the office, which is good because it allows you to be normal. And
It's weird though, because every once in a while we come back and you kind of don't know how to do things.
yeah, like you got to be married and just
Yeah.
cope.
It is
and,
weird.
Yeah, but no, loving it.
And then people start, when you come back after a long time in the field, people in the office look at you like you're supposed to make coffee. And it's like, bro, I don't do this.
How does that work?
Yeah, you guys do this. I don't do this.
What is that thing that blows out steam?
Yo, what are you talking about?
But the other thing is just to like so many people ask you, what do you what do you do at home when you're not on safari? And obviously we're not at home. We work, and very few people actually think that we are in an office and we work office hours every day of the week. And weekends,
This
to
is
be
a
honest.
big, maybe I've got a little list here. I was very professional this morning. I've got a list of topics we need to discuss. Not going to work though. One of the things that people always want to do what we do, they see the dream, they see the romance online. They don't see all the budget meetings, the social media meetings, the back end. So, okay, so this is the point. If you guys watching this on the video, we are recording this as well. We're in our secluded forest and our waitress just bought us cappuccino.
Special service out here.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the long track all the way up to the mountaintop to bring our cappuccinos.
Okay then.
We're in a studio, so I know it looks like we're sitting at Woolworths and Fourways.
It's all special effects.
Special effects.
Yeah.
Jerry's really good at Photoshop.
This new GoPro software is phenomenal. No, so I think where people then miss it, they think we're on safari, and when you're not on safari, you're watching Game of Thrones back home.
Yeah.
There's a full business to run
I mean, we do that.
as well,
But-
we don't sleep much.
No.
So I think the big reality for people is, especially young guys wanting to do what we do, they think they're going to be out in the field or at home.
Yeah.
Holy hell, I mean, Mike's been in the office now for 2.5 months. He's leaving for Kenya today, and he looked quite happy to get out the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think even from my side, I mean, being fairly new to Wild Eye,
Yeah.
having worked from home last year for a small photographic company,
Close quarters.
moving on.
Yes.
For a part-time photographic company.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
And you work straight from home, eh?
Yeah, so but coming into the office, okay, I'm the opposite to Marlon. I've
Thank
got
you.
a large amount of office time.
Yeah.
But I think I certainly didn't realize how much work actually goes into an operation like this, and it's only once you spend that time in the office that you actually see the work and, I mean, attention to detail that goes into planning
It's fun.
planning safaris.
I remember when you came in, so I mean, we had an interview or two with you, and the first day you actually came into the office was our annual strategy meeting,
Yeah.
where we go through annual budgets and targets and
Yeah.
goals, and dude, you were like deer in the headlights,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
You remember
Exactly.
that?
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, but even, I mean, coming in at that point, it shows you the scale of what we do and why our operation is what it is.
Absolutely. I mean, I think if I look at the calendar now, we're going into our migration season, and there's at times where we've got 7 full-time guides, not people who are photo partners or who you just said. We have full-time guides employed by Wild Eye. If you're not guiding, you're in the office. And there are times coming up, I think in the next couple of months, where at least 6 of us are out in the field
Yeah.
at the same time. So now, just look at the logistics. I mean, for you listening, if you do your own, I don't know, holiday to Cape Town, how much is there to think of? Now you want to have a trip in Pantanal and in the Mara and in Madagascar and in Timbavati, because those are all going to run at the same time. It's not a Mickey Mouse thing, hey? There's a lot of stuff that goes into this.
Last week I said cheers to Andrew Beck. So Andrew, I see again the first week of September.
That's right. And
Yeah,
you and I
so-
see
so I
each other
said-
this week.
Well, yeah, Mike's leaving. I see Mike at the end of also the first week of
Yeah.
September, and Jerry I'm gonna see in
It was like end October.
the
or something.
last few days of October. So I see
And we
him
literally
Friday.
just cross over for 3
we
days or
leave
something.
Friday, yeah, but not even going to see each other. So I mean, for 3 months we won't see each other.
It's mad.
On the GoPro, if you look close enough, you'll see it's here.
Yeah, we're gonna hug, but we're gonna edit it out.
It's small, but it's there.
No, it's mad. I mean, but I think, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is what fascinates me sometimes is, and you had it now at Londolozi. I've had it at Londolozi and Marlon and all the places we go to, wherever. I mean, even in Uganda, the guides, they obviously know who we are. You come in and they see the operation that you run and they want to work for you. But they say, no, you know what? I'm just going to do my own thing. Oh, right, John. So you're going to get out of guiding. You're going to have a little office at your home where you're watching sport at the same time. Then you're going to try and put a trip together. You're going to put one trip together. But then while you're in the field, what happens then?
Yeah.
It's not scalable. It is not practical. It just, we know this cannot work. If you want to scale it up, and look, I mean, this might sound arrogant as shit, but I don't care. We're just getting started, man.
Yeah.
We're only warming up. Watch this space. So I think, I mean, it's an exciting thing. And I mean, Trev, for you, you've had a long stint in the office, but finally you started getting into the field. Laura and Tam cried when you left. It was just amazing. Just to get him out of the office for a bit.
Yeah, it's been good. And like you said, I mean, just to have that office time, okay, it was a fairly lengthy period of time, but I'm also very thankful to have had that opportunity, to pretty much start from scratch and just learn the business from the beginning, work my way up, and just see everything that goes into a safari, see what the ladies do in the office and how much time and hard work they put into it.
It's actually an interesting thing. I mean, we should think about, we've got 1 or 2 new guys who we want to look at from end of this year and going forward, but maybe it's a thing that if you start, you have to be at least 3 to 4 months in the office. Because you sit with costings, you sit with the marketing.
Almost an induction.
So, I mean, yeah, and in the field, we know you're a good guide. You won't be hired by us if you're not.
Yeah.
But the understanding of the workings of it, I mean, still now sometimes, I mean, I've been here since the very beginning. You've been here for like 5 years or something now. You sit back and you think, holy shit, this is just like, this is big.
Yeah.
But it's great fun, eh? And now we're going into a very busy season. But I want to check with you, Trev specifically, because I saw you up in the Mara now recently. You guys did the Photo Academy. We'll do a podcast on that separate.
Perfect.
First impressions of the Mara. You've never been.
Never been, and ever since I can remember, it was a dream of mine to get up there. Okay, yes, it's not the time of the migration, but in a way, it was also nice just to find my feet in a little bit of a calmer environment. And arriving there, yes, you see the documentaries on TV on the Mara. You see the rest of the team, their photos and images and content from the Mara, but I don't think anything can prepare you. On arrival, flying in, it's just big open spaces. It's incredible. Hey? So I think, apart from our camp being incredible, just scenery and being out in the field, it's mind blowing.
It's not the same as Southern Africa.
No.
It's just not the same.
No.
Do you remember your first time to the Mara?
I do.
Just to clarify.
Awkward. My first time to East Africa, I remember pretty well, which was the Serengeti. And
that was a little Singita, eh?
Yeah, it was Singita, and which it's similar in terms of the environment and the experience you'll have in the Mara. But I took the first animal we saw was a giraffe, and I was there with a friend of mine, James Suter, and I remember the guide was just driving, and we were like, stop! Because the giraffe there was nothing around him apart from grass.
And we're not used to that from Southern Africa.
I looked at that and I was like, this is insane. And I think we took like 500 photographs each of this damn giraffe. This is one giraffe on his own.
This guide must have thought you nuts.
And then we saw a journey
Oh, God.
in the open grass field.
Honestly, did you cry a little bit?
But I promise you, and
That's how
that
good
trip
it
we
is.
took so many photographs because it was so different to anything that we've experienced before. And so for your first time in the Mara, it'll be very, apart from obviously if you book during the migration period, 2 million animals running around all around you.
Yeah.
Apart from that, blowing your mind, just the beauty of the landscape, the photographically, the opportunities, the cleanliness of your image, it's next level. It's like nothing you've experienced before.
Trev, have you been to Times Square?
I have, yes.
Okay, so for me, this analogy always works. When people grow up with images of Africa in their mind, they read books, they watch Nat Geo stuff or whatever. The vision of Africa that we grow up with is the Times Square of the bush. Because when you get there for the first time, it is so incredible, yet so familiar. And you feel so comfortable, for me at least. I mean, I remember walking to Times Square the first time thinking, holy shit, this is insane. But it didn't feel like I was new there. Because all the movies, all the stuff in New York gets made there. You see a yellow cab, you think, fuck, it's cool, there's a yellow cab. But I've seen it in Independence Day and all these things. And I think East Africa to me is that. I've had people come on Southern African safaris, and we're going to discuss Madikwe in a bit, and they'll say, but I thought it was going to be more open. That East Africa kind of is the quintessential Africa.
Yeah, for
it really is.
It epitomizes the whole experience. Even old movies like Meryl Streep, Robert Redford, all those old movies that you can think of, it's all East Africa. Born free, all of it.
It's true.
You know what I really enjoyed about it was I made a conscious decision to, yes, I've been in the Sabi Sands and all these places, and I think as a guide, sometimes you do tend to forget. Although you're in these beautiful areas, you think of Londolozi, the Sand River, it's an incredible scene.
Sure.
But over time, you almost forget how beautiful it is, if that makes sense. And something that I really focused on was going to the Mara, having never seen it before, and just enjoying the experience for the first time.
Yeah.
And to think back that so many of our guests going up to the Mara this year are going to experience just that. So to take that mindset into it was also very, very special.
Here's an interesting question for you guys. That we'll get back on track with my little list. If you are watching the video, look, I actually have a list. I'm not going to use it, but if you travel, right, you go to one country and it blows your mind. It's like, holy shit, Borneo is incredible. Then a year later, you go to another country. Let's say you go to Pantanal. This is incredible. This is amazing. When you start getting to country 25, 26, the magic isn't as much, but this is human nature, right? So if I go on my first trip, it's insane. My second trip is still insane. That thing plateaus at some stage. So my question to you guys, and I've started touching on this in some of my blogs and podcasts and stuff, is how do you deal with going back to the same place again and again and again? Because it's human nature. It's natural for us not to have that same excitement level, because, sorry for you guys wanting to do what we do, but it's work. How do you manage your mindset? Obviously it's work, so the guests are blown away and we do what we do. How do you manage your personal mindset of going to a place and looking at it like it's the first time? You know what I mean? Yeah, they're both chewing. This is awkward. I just feel.
I completely.
You know what I mean? Though it's a real thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's I think different aspects of it stand out to you. So if we use trying to think places over the last 4 or 5 years of wildlife I've been to often, we call it Mana Pools.
Yeah.
Where a few years ago I used to go 5 or 6 times a year, and somebody asked me the other day also, don't you get tired of seeing these places? You've been so many times.
No.
And I think it's like a relationship. If you get married, you in the beginning you're attracted with face level stuff. So you're attracted to the initial, just like, wow, it's amazing, I want to spend the rest of my life together.
Is lust and love a wrong analogy? Initially there's more lust.
No, absolutely not. I think
in.
it's that first impression.
It's not a sex talk show.
Yeah, this is
Sorry,
getting
different
deep now,
topic.
guys.
Yeah.
It's just
we'll
But
leave a
it's-
hotline
but
afterwards if you guys want to call in.
Marlon's number. But it's what would you say? It's a relationship and kind of settling into something.
Absolutely. Like in the beginning, you miss things that because you're looking at the outer shell of it, the initial beauty and the on the face value of it. But then as you explore it more and more, you get a little bit it gets a little bit deeper, and you start to see more of the place, and you get to know the inner workings of it, and then you start getting involved in the conservation aspect of it and trying to. There's an initiative now, for example, South Luangwa. First time I went, blown away, incredible.
Yeah.
Never forget it. Now I'm at a point where, when I go back now, I'm recording a segment for an initiative called Keep the Luangwa Flowing.
Oh,
so
nice.
where there's a project that might be coming into effect where they're damming the Luangwa River just south of the park,
Okay.
and it'll affect a big portion of the park in the south. So now you start getting involved on deeper levels of it. So it's not only just going there, taking a few photographs and coming back. You're trying to everything in Africa is conservation based,
Yeah.
and wherever you go, there's threats all over. And it's same in the Mara. We used to go in the beginning, taking our guests there, but now we have Olympus involved in a photographic school, and we I think that for me is the key. In the beginning, you still love going there. You still love seeing the animals and you love creating these experiences, but it's a deeper experience.
The challenge that I had and have, and I've mentioned for those of you that follow me on Instagram, you should follow all of us on Instagram because we're amazing.
Yes.
Is I had this thing because, Trev, you just started traveling. You came from Mara straight into Madikwe.
Yeah.
I do believe, and again, it's human nature, the one taints the other. You start looking at things because you're comparing. It's what we do.
Yeah.
But I had this thing recently, and I wrote a blog post when I was in Tebe, and I mentioned something on an Instagram story where I'm finding I have to physically make myself kind of mentally slow down. Because, this year I went from orangutans, 2 days at home, into polar bears, 3 days at home, gorillas.
Yeah.
And it's so easy for us in what we do just to kind of let the thing just bypass us, and you just
Jerry, that's
roll
more
from
like
the one to the next.
That's more like you, because you are like a freak show when it comes to destinations. We don't all quite fall into that league and category.
No, but it's just, come on, man.
It's
For him, it's the same.
going from Svalbard to tracking gorillas to the plains of the Mara, like
It's pretty cool.
it's pretty epic. And then like in between visiting the tropics
But
of Borneo.
in that lays the problem, is you start taking it for granted because you go from one to the next to the next to the next.
Yeah.
And you have to physically slow down and say to yourself, listen, this is actually pretty fucking amazing of what I'm doing. I did gymnastics way back, and I said to my coach, the day that I wake up, because it's hard, you saw and you do this, the day I wake up and I don't want to do this, I will stop, retire.
Yeah.
Done. And
Yeah.
for me, this is the same.
Yeah.
And I think if we don't, and there's a lot of guys out there who they're guiding, but they become shitty guides because they get miserable, they get tired, and that to me, you know what, they can do what they want. I actually don't care. But it's about their guest experience.
Yeah.
And that's vital. I think it's important for us as guys to recognize this and know that. I mean, Mara and Madikwe for you was very close together and both were new.
Yeah.
How did you manage that? I mean, you're so excited from the Mara, now you come back and now you go to Madikwe. Do you just forget about the one? You know what I mean?
It is a difficult one to answer, but in a way, once again, like, I try to take the mindset of separating the two, although it's very difficult. I mean, I was super pumped and excited
You're
about
just very
my Mara
technical like that, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just the way I am. But I think also if you're talking about going back to the same place on safari, I think a big thing as guides as well, and I know it has a big impact on me, is yes, it's great to see these lodges and the wildlife, and no two experiences the same. So that's one reason to go back. But then also people. To me, people is a huge thing. It's not just about exploring a wildlife area, getting some great photographs, and then going your separate ways. I think a big thing for us as guides, and what I really, really enjoy about it, is creating these different connections with different people. And I think that's
different
what,
than people.
Exactly, yeah.
I think the nice thing as well, I mean, and the challenge, you and I spoke about this, you're going to Pantanal for the first time. I went to Borneo for the first time. Do you guys have any idea how difficult that is? Because photographically, I'll back myself 300%. Guiding-wise, hosting-wise, not a problem.
Yeah.
But now the local knowledge. So now I'll flip it over. You worked at St. Gita, Londolozi, Madikwe, whatever for a long time, the three of us. You know in detail, this animal's probably going to walk there and then he's going there, so let's go wait over that side. The local knowledge deepens that, and I think for places that we go back to, Mara, Mana, Svalbard even now, as we're in our 7th, 8th year now, we have that local knowledge. And that's important. I think also people who travel with us, because of that repetition, the photography is better because you can interpret and plan better. Has to be a thing.
But also, I mean, Borneo, Pantanal, even Svalbard was the first view at a stage.
I was scared shitless the first year.
And you know, it's not,
properly.
you can't just go on to Svalbard on a site inspection and a site visit, because it doesn't, cool, that would be cool, but probably unlikely. So, you're always there's gonna be a first time, but I think people buy into the person hosting that trip and the company, because, and I want to say also very, very big thanks to everyone who is coming to Pantanal with me this year, and it is our first time, and like Jerry said, it is pretty daunting answering questions on what is the exact lens choice, etc. What's the weather going to be like exactly, and you have an idea, but this is also, we put in place an expert on the ground in Brazil, a guy who's been in the Pantanal region since 2003.
What's his name?
Ricardo Casarin, and so he knows the place through and through. So we make sure, and this is what you'd expect. So Marlon's never been, but let me go with him, because we trust Marlon, we trust Wild Eye, and we trust that when they go to another country, it's going to be arranged, and that's what we do. So we, the legitimacy of it is a real thing.
I think legitimacy is the one thing, but I also think what you said now is we're using Ricardo on the ground. Like when I go to Svalbard, I use Christian on the ground. If I go to Borneo, Charlie's on the ground. We've got our local guides. But, and this is the big thing, the trust thing I think comes in because there's always a full-time Wild Eye guide with you.
Yeah, and
We're not traveling around the world to host our guests. I'm not sending you off to a photo partner or to someone else somewhere else in the world. It has to, and that I believe is why we're winning.
Yeah.
It's vital.
Yeah.
It really is vital.
And imagine going to photograph like Oryx in Namibia with a photo partner.
Yeah. I don't know so much,
So,
I would want to do it myself. Yeah.
It's just not, doesn't make any sense. You know, you'd want a trusted guide in there from the company, you know?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's quickly jump back. So I know what. Marlon, behave yourself. Damn it. Have more coffee. Can we have more coffee? Madikwe, your first impressions. Okay, he's eating. When you went to Madikwe, what was your first impression coming from the sands?
Cold.
It is a cold place.
Yeah, the first time I went, I think it was in July or
how?
so, and it was pretty cold. But you know, it's a completely different habitat. I think that one of the biggest draw cards, especially for if you're traveling with family, it's malaria free. I mean, that's a major thing. It's a proper Big 5 game viewing experience and no malaria. But terrain-wise, it's completely different. It's quite a bit thicker. But the action at the waterholes is untouched, unrivaled.
Those red Inselbergs as well as a landscape kind of landmark.
But even the red sand at a waterhole, when elephants dust or when you know the colours and the textures that you get on their faces and their trunks and it's a very, very different environment. The camp is fantastic. I love that camp. The fact that you have I would easily a 5-star plus kind of camp experience.
But it's private.
Incredible food, private, all to yourself. You know, it's a very different experience, but not you can't place one above the other.
I'm going to get to that question. I've got an interesting what you mentioned now. What was your first impression? Could you just get back from there?
Yeah, so I think, you know, having never been out, I'd been to Madikwe at another lodge last year, but on arrival, you instantly feel like it's a family camp. You know, if you look at Grant and Monique, the staff, and we spoke about it earlier, how people and guests make an experience, and you know, on arrival immediately you're relaxed. It's a family environment. So the lodge, you know, it's a 4.5 hour drive from Joburg. You drive, you leave early, you arrive at the lodge.
You drove slowly then. I used to work there. I did it just over 3.
Speed limit.
Yes.
But you know, after driving there, you immediately arrive and you can just relax. And you know, also being there in July, being a bit dry, the waterhole in front of camp. I mean, we sat outside most of the day, all day long, and you just have elephants and rhinos, general game, a whole bunch just coming down to drink. So in terms of the camp experience, it was absolutely incredible. And the vegetation, like Marlon said, it's very, very dense, but then you look at an area like Clo Dam, where it's completely different to the rest of the reserve. You know, you're driving through this dense vegetation, suddenly it opens up, massive waterhole, and like Marlon said as well, late afternoon, our first 2 afternoons we spent there, sun setting, elephant after elephant, dust, light. What more can you ask for?
The interesting thing on that lodge, for those of you that have been to Nkuru with us, is when they walked the area, when they were putting up the lodge, they actually walked that whole ridge and they found a couple of spots. They then found this little stream, followed it down. There was an old windmill in front of room 2. So we showed up the lodge on the right hand side, and then they came and they saw all these game paths come in, and it's literally a north-south channel in front there. So it's in wintertime, it's mad, absolutely mad.
So I was very, very impressed. I'm looking forward to getting back there.
Oh no, it's an amazing place. When are you back there? Nothing yet.
The other thing is a couple of unique species that they get there. We saw last time I was there, we saw Artful.
You guys saw brown hyena?
Brown hyena, incredible cheetah interaction. You know, so it's a very different gaming experience as well.
Photographically,
chance to see
it's cool.
black rhino.
Black and white. The cool thing is, and I mean, if people have been to the sands and to the Mara, Madikwe offers different environments. Unless you're one of those photographers who just go portrait all the time, I think you're missing out because there's so much more landscape. Question for you guys. We've spoken about Madikwe and Mara and all these different destinations. People who are choosing their first safari ever seem to have a problem. Now, I was reading a book last night, and in there they talk about the paradox of change, or of choice, paradox of choice, where if I give you 2 choices, have an apple or an orange, it's easy. I want this one. But if I tell you, here's an apple, an orange, a naartjie, a banana, a watermelon, a lychee, and grapes, choose one, it becomes more difficult. So there's so much safaris out there. Forget about the operators and photo partners and whatever. Just destinations, Mara, Madikwe, Sabi. How should someone go about choosing their one and their first safari? More than likely their first won't be their last. But I'm thinking, you know, people, they say, well, I don't know where to go and this and that. Well, then we give them the options. but it's still, there's so much.
Yeah.
How do people choose their first one?
Trev?
Marlon?
So, I mean, we often face that. I just had a guest now that I met in New York a couple of years ago. It's just an example. He'd never been on safari, but he wanted something. He wanted his first experience to be wild, and
You want your first time to be wild.
yeah, but I think you gotta. It comes down to you gotta have if you have no idea what you want.
That's it.
It's different, but it's as guides and people who've been, we always ask the questions. What's your favorite animal? Maybe your favorite animal. Maybe you hate you hate elephants, if you ever do for some other reason.
Some people are very scared of them.
Yeah. So, but just say you can't. I had a lady who hated. She really didn't like wild dogs. Couldn't stand wild dogs.
Oh.
So I'm not going to go and plan a safari to
Madikwe.
or a place where you're going to see dogs every
Yeah.
day because she's got a phobia of them. Or elephants, you're not going to go to Amboseli. Or
Yeah.
probably a bad example, but it's important for us to know what you want. And this guest of mine wanted something wild, and so I took him to Southern Africa, Zambia and Zimbabwe. Another guest of mine now, the lady that I just took to Marlon and Lozi, she wanted big five and especially rhino. So there's not a lot of places in Africa where you can get big five and rhino other than South Africa or
Sure.
Greater Kruger. So
Sure.
it narrows it down. It takes out of the equation everything else.
Yeah.
So I think, just as a first point, if you have a brief idea, if you want to see leopards, or you're an absolute.
You want another coffee?
Yeah, I'll have a cappuccino.
Can I have a small one of this, please? Actually, a small cappuccino. Please.
Small cappuccino as well.
3 small cappuccinos, thank you.
So like if you want, if leopards are your favorite thing, you always dreamt of seeing one. There's a few places you can go to see them. There's a few places you wouldn't go to see them. So I think having a general idea of what you want,
You have to have that starting point.
yeah, but that narrows it down to a few.
I think what people struggle with now is there's so much on social. There's so much online. If you just go and Google Safari, there's like 423 million.
And
where do they start?
And we get those requests. So people say, I'd love to see the migration, but then what's that pools place you speak about?
Yeah.
Mana
And then
pools or
can we
something.
do a day trip?
Yeah, can we just
Can we
do
just
that?
go,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you're like,
And we've
well,
got 3 days.
it's not that simple.
Yeah. And I mean,
So-
what I do is when people contact me for a private guide, on my website I've got a form, which is everything you just said now. How many people, when do you want to travel? Because if you want to see the migration, first of all, don't come to South Africa, it's not going to happen, but also don't go in December.
Yeah.
So there's all of that. Date, when, how much, what do you want to see? What for the photographers, what photographic techniques do you want to work on?
Yeah.
If you want to do panning, I'm probably not going to show you gorillas.
Yeah.
You're not going to pan a gorilla very successfully. Migration, there's shit running around everywhere. So that narrowing down, but I think people struggle so much, and I think what we should be doing and are doing is taking 24 options and narrow it down to 3 for them.
Yeah.
And then things like cost and whatever.
Yeah.
Trevor, what do you think?
No, I agree, because I think it's having a bit of an idea, but also then dealing with the right people who have the experience. That's a big part of it. I mean, just doing the research, you can just do the research and that on your own, but just to be sure of the type of experience that you're getting, value for money, your expectation, just to make sure that is all met. I think the people that you deal with play an enormous role. I had a similar. I've got a private coming up in September, and it was organised beginning of the year. And straight off the bat, sat down with him, had a Skype.
Where's that one
Skype
going?
meeting. That's to Timbavati, and just had a general discussion about photography, about the kinds of animals that they would like to see. It's their first safari as well. So just getting an idea of what kind of people they are as well, not just saying, okay, you want to see a lion, we go here, but just connecting with that individual.
Sure.
And establishing a relationship off the bat, and then getting an understanding of what they want, what the experience that they want, and then going from there into the kind of experience that I can then plan for them.
I think what leads on to this is there are people who like high-end travel.
Yeah.
They like to have everything. I like those people because they know what they want.
Yeah.
And I want to use the word easier, but maybe not, to tailor-make their experience. However, I think where a lot of companies and guides fall flat is they promise everything. They promise the world, but they don't know if they can deliver.
Yeah.
We as guides, us as wild guides, we need to, thank you, we need to manage the expectations of that guest, regardless of how long they're traveling for, how many private jets they own. We have to keep it real with these people. If they want to, for example, what am I doing now? Go to Madikwe, and can we please have a sundowner dinner on the top of the amphitheater, which is one of those instruments. You know what, you're probably going to break your ankle, so no, I'm not going to do that with you. We have to do that. We cannot just promise.
Yeah.
Something's going to fall flat there.
But I think we also like if it's not something you can afford to do everything in one go, or to come and experience so many places, go from one country to another. I think it's good to again, chatting with whoever you guide through, hopefully, or book through, hopefully Wildeye, but you can come to Africa for 10 years, year after year, or every second year, and experience something new on each visit. And you can then change up. You can come in different seasons, and experience something new every different season.
How long have you been guiding? That long?
13, 12.
9 years.
Okay, so 9, 13, almost about 14, 15 kind of year. I still see new things in the bush.
Yeah.
Still know.
Everything, and even the same places.
So now people think, I'm going to go on one safari and see everything. So I like 10 years, come back again and again and again.
Yeah.
The cool thing is, we got out, when we were guiding, there was days when you saw jack shit, you saw nothing.
Yeah.
When you come on a trip, we stack all the odds in your favor. So if you do 10 trips, one a year for 10 years, my goodness, the stuff you're going to see.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
And I also think, like Marlon was saying, as opposed to trying to cram the whole of Africa into one safari, you're missing out.
Oh, huge.
There's a lot that you don't get to discover.
Unless you go for 6 months.
Unless you go, there you go. Thanks, Marlon.
We can do that, by the way.
Okay, never mind what I was going to say. Whatever. No, but I think if you choose one or two specific destinations and you maximize your time in those areas.
Have to. I was sitting in Marlon now recently. I had a private group there, and there was an American group. There must have been about 10 strong, and they had a company and they had a private guide, which I might just rant on this later on because this was just diabolical. Anyway, the one husband, and I think he was like the guy that put it together.
Yeah.
So I was hearing his wife speak to the rest of the group, and then someone else popped in, hi, how long are you here for? The normal stuff like before dinner. And she said, no, husband doesn't like to stay at one place for too long. So they stay like 2 nights only.
Yeah,
So you arrive in the afternoon, you have one game drive, you sleep, you got one full day, next morning drive, you're out.
Back up gone.
You're missing the point.
Yeah.
There's so much you're missing out on like that. And not just game viewing, lodge, people, experience, everything.
Yeah.
But the private guiding thing, no, I'm not going to go there just yet. Actually, no, I am. Screw it, I am. So here's the thing. We're sitting in a sighting in the morning, Mala, now recently. So I'm with my 4 guests. Andrew Dankwitz is my guide at Mala.
Yeah.
There's another vehicle, and they pull into these mating lines. Beautiful. It is just golden light, and it's just everything's cool. And I'm using inverted private guide, inverted commas for this. Sits next to, first of all, the other vehicles. They're not photographers. She actually was a she. Is sitting next to the guide.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm busy with my talking aperture, try this, blah, 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 blah. And I look over, and the poor guide who's driving, the local guide, the guy who's employed to create an experience, is sitting with his hand in his head, and he's just sitting there. So I look at him, and he kind of catches my eye, and there was like, it looked like the life has been sucked from him. Because this private guide was overpowering him on and there was bullshit. She was not talking right.
Yeah.
Yet they overpower the local guide.
Yeah.
What is your feeling on going in as a private guide to a lodge? How do you use the local guide? I've got very strong feelings on this.
So for
Thank you.
myself, whenever I approach an experience like that, I generally try and like to meet my private guide away from guests before the trip even starts.
Local guide.
Local guide.
What did I say?
You are the private guide.
Local guide.
Yeah.
Okay. So have a meeting, sit down, just discuss. I think it's important to establish that communication off the bat. And I always tell them I'm very open. I enjoy feedback as well. So if you have an issue or there's something that you don't agree with on drive, let's chat after drive. Come to an understanding and move forward from that. But like you said, there's a lot of guides that just, it's kind of all about them, and they go in and they don't care what the local guide says or does. Or
Case in point, what did the Piccadilly female do yesterday? That's the point. So we go there, we can create big context on leopards in Africa, different behaviors.
Yeah.
You can go detailed on it. The local guide knows what's happening on the floor.
Yeah.
They know that she's not going to hunt right now. She's got to kill up a tree 5 meters from here.
Yeah.
It's shocking what's happening out there.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. And I think the thing, all of us have sat in that car.
Yeah.
You've driven that vehicle. You know what it's like to have someone trying to undermine you.
Yeah.
The worst, and Trevor will have an understanding of this, the worst, I think I still have the photos on my phone. I'll show it to that camera if you want. But of a guide arriving at Londolozi and drawing pictures on post-its. about the sighting he'd like to see in the afternoon.
And giving it to the local guide.
Yeah, I think the same guide was bitten by a spider a few years ago and documented the story on Facebook. Should give you an idea of who you are if you're listening. And so I mean, he literally, I kid you not, drew pictures of what he had envisioned in the afternoon for the game drive, and he would meet with these guests at lunchtime and explain this to them on these post-its, on these little freaking pieces of paper
To the guests.
and show them this is our plan for the afternoon. We're gonna go looking for this. And on the picture, it shows a like a leopard, drawn stick figure leopard, over, like the one I remember was an overhanging branch over the Sand River at sunset. So a branch hanging over the river, leopard on it at sunset.
How do we plan this?
Well, I don't know if is there an overhanging branch like that on the Sand River
Look,
to
in
find a
my
leopard on.
400 years, I never saw one of those branches, and I certainly didn't see a leopard in one of them either.
But you get what I mean? Like that's literally the level that this guy took it to.
Yeah.
And he would take that to his local guide and explain to him what he'd want to see. Like, yeah, I got nothing more to say other than that's terrible. I'm actually looking for it now. I'll show you guys in a second.
You know what's broken though is the first thing I do, and I said this to my group there because my guests actually picked it up when we were looking at this, and they saw that this poor guide was. The first thing I do, I mean, if we go to a lodge where we know them, we request X, Y, and Z guide.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the first thing, I'm back of house.
Yeah.
I'm meeting with a chef. I'm trying to make friends with the barman, because those people are going to help me create an experience for my guests.
Yeah.
It's teamwork, and the value for me is you're not just if you book one of us as a private guide, you're not getting me. You're getting me plus the supersized of the lodge because I'm going to try and get the best out of them for you as well.
Yeah.
But it's a team effort, and at that people don't get it at.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
It is sad.
Marlon, what you doing?
Sorry, I have to find this because I know people are like, "That's ridiculous, Marlon. We don't believe you. It's impossible. No one would actually do that." But somebody did.
Do you think? I mean, and I think it comes back to going to a destination maybe for the first time. I can go to the Mara now and draw pictures of a crossing that I want to see. It's probably not going to happen. I need to have confidence in my ability to guide and to guide my guests and to teach my guests that regardless of what they see, I'll be able to empower them to do what they do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go scripted in this game does not work.
No.
You cannot script. I can script, for example, your flights, your transfers, your accommodation, your meal times.
Yeah.
Even meal times change. They're not even that scripted.
Yeah.
But to try and script what happens out in the bush, I think, apart from it just being a bad idea, I think you're missing out on that X factor of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's,
Agreed.
I don't know.
Firstly, like what Marlon's talking about, that whole situation is messed up. But you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself as a guide, firstly.
Huge. False expectations from the guest.
Exactly. Because now a guest sees firstly a little drawing and it's like, okay, this is weird. But then hears about what they're going to see and their mind's blown.
Yeah.
But I think, I always sell it to my guests is you're in this incredible environment. Yeah. And we have no control, like you said, we can control flights and all of that, hotels, but we have no control over what we're going to see.
No.
So how do you sit back and let nature...
Just shoot what you see.
Exactly.
How do you feel about Jerry? How do you feel about Jerry?
He's a great guy, man. I can let you.
But Jerry, how do you feel about two things? Photographic guides sitting up front.
Yeah.
So specifically on a photographic safari, sitting up front, and you have a vehicle guest all the way to the back seat of the vehicle, or even one guest, doesn't matter regardless, and then having an elaborate, massive camera system booted to the door with a bracket.
Because of flashes and off-camera stuff, and
I
I think it's broken at both levels, because if you're sitting in front, number one, you're getting better shots from your client, even if you teach them very well because you've got the lower angle. So there's a reason that you're down there. Number two, you cannot physically sit there, talk to the guy next to you, listen to the radio with wind, and listen. You might hear the guy behind you. 2 rows, 3 rows back, there's no chance in hell.
No.
So, and this is something that we started maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We made a big point. So if there's a game viewer, we will sit middle row on the side, all our guests down the one side, and you can speak and manage everybody.
Yeah.
So one of my clients now in Marlon sat in the front, and she came to me and said, "Do I want to sit in front?" I said, "Hell no, not my place." Why? Because normally you do.
Yeah.
Not me. Your position does. It's broken.
Yeah.
And if you, the more, and for me, I'm not an Olympus ambassador. I've got nothing to do with the brand. I've just been using them. But the biggest thing for me with it is I can stand with my guests and talk and teach and use one hand literally with the 600mm and photograph crossing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't influence. The bigger your gear, the more elaborate your flash system and your brackets and your gimbals, your focus is elsewhere.
Yeah.
Guaranteed your focus is elsewhere.
You know, and for me, I come from both sides. So last year, guiding with a small photographic company.
Small part-time photographic
I sat
company.
in front. So we sat in front there.
Was that a thing?
That's just the way it was done.
Yeah.
But, you know, if I just simply look at Madikwe now, I sat middle row, right-hand side, all the photographers on the left. And it enables you, you know, before last year, a guest at the back right has an issue with their camera, there's nothing you can do on drive.
Yeah.
So it's, okay, well, I'll help you after drive. Otherwise, you're screaming over the first 4 guests, and it just becomes a bit of a disaster.
Messy.
Whereas now, what was so nice is sitting in the middle, you can work with the individuals in the front row, the individual next to you, and the back row.
Working
and you
as
can
in touch their camera
touch
and work
their
with
camera,
it.
show them, go through their menu,
Yeah.
have a look at their images, make sure that they're getting the shots, as opposed to getting back to large. Oh, okay, well, what did you get this morning?
Oh, sorry,
Let's
you
have a
missed-
look at your image.
you missed that stick leopard and the overhanging bronze. So
those
sorry.
are overexposed, so there's nothing I can do now.
Messy.
But next time.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
So it's just, I mean, that's just something small, but you really do notice, and it's for what we've got to remember as guys and photographic guys on vehicles is it's not about us, it's about our guests. We wouldn't be in these places if it wasn't for them.
Absolutely.
And they deserve 100%, 110% of our attention all the time.
Absolutely. I think also, on top of all of that, the guys who sit in the front, let's say even if they weren't that photographic and they've got a small camera, I think they do it because, number one, they don't trust the local guy.
Yeah.
What sightings you have, where to position this, that, the other. Yet, there is a way, and if you just be nice with people, that I can tell Grant, at crew for example, in a very nice way in front of the guest, because we're a team, can you pull more here and there? It's not a bad thing. But to sit in the front, I think there's a trust issue with a lot of the guys. They don't trust them. And they want to be the hero that communicates all the community. Anyway,
but I mean, it comes down to, you know, we mentioned of how we chat to our local guides before we head out on our first safari, and you go back of house and you meet everybody and you establish that relationship. You know, if you look at Grant now guiding us at Madikwe, because you've got that respect between each other, in a sighting he would be, Trevor, you happy here? What do you think? My thinking was to do this, and immediately that's adding to the experience. It's not valuable information to a guest, but that communication is the positive one.
But also the way you do it, it could be a fun thing. There's an interplay, there's jokes, there's banter, and you and it adds to the total guest experience.
Exactly.
I don't know, broken. Let's change gears here. Someone asked me yesterday on Instagram that we need to run a social media course for wildlife photographers. Thoughts?
A social media
Course.
course.
Like an online course for wildlife photographers, how to use social media. Thoughts?
Sure. That's on the spot.
Yeah.
Because, while you think, he said that there's a lot of people trying it and trying to do it, but number one, they're not great wildlife photographers, and number two, they're not great with social. So, let me change it, because you both
I think
very...
it's also got to be your motive for it.
Yeah.
Because...
But that would be part of the course.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely... Because, I mean, I had just another example. We have a lot of examples because we have, guests in these experiences, but a guest who is not at all in need of a great social account, but he enjoyed the interaction. He enjoyed, I think 5 or 6 or 8 years ago we had online forums.
Bulletin boards and stuff.
Yeah, where you could post a photograph and I think there's still some going. I think a lot of bird photography have those forums active where you could post an image and people will critique it. And why not try this, try composition, that, etc. So I think from that point of view, he enjoys, Instagram has become that for him. He can post it and people, for the most part, people say great image.
Sure.
You don't get the real critique, but it's still a form of feedback because you spend $20,000-$30,000 on a safari, and ultimately you also want to hear that your images are hopefully getting better as well.
Yeah.
So I do think there's a place for it, and I do think that a lot of people are misusing it and not using it correctly.
I think the biggest thing is people think because it's on your phone, because it's on this thing, it's not about people anymore. So if I invite you guys over for dinner You're not going to charge up to every person you haven't met yet and say, hey, my name is Trevor, you need to come on safari with me, here's my business card.
Yeah.
I'm telling you to fuck off.
Yeah.
You're going to make friends, you're going to get to know each other. How's it going? If someone mentioned they're keen on animals, oh, have you been on safari? And then you go deeper.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same on here.
Yeah.
But people don't get it. I think the most valuable content we can give, I mean, we'll look at a course maybe for next year once we have time. No, once we have time, 10 years from now.
2022. Yeah.
But, and this is going to sound funny, don't kind of listen to what we say, look at what we do online.
Yeah.
That's it. It's being real, authentic. Share your own personal views, engage with the people, and just enjoy the process. People are not doing that.
Yeah.
And there's so much, they
yeah.
want attention on there. There's the worst thing I'm seeing now, and this is a big thing now again. It's photoshopped to pieces, but there's a beautiful sunset right in the distance. There's a lion walking towards the sunset.
So, and I have that
and he's
exact
got
same image
light
in my
on
head.
his ass.
I know exactly which one you're talking
How
about.
did that lion get light on his ass if he's walking into the... What? But then, the worst thing is, there's 243,412 comments saying, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
That's not real.
Yeah.
So,
I think-
go for it.
Yeah, no, just social media, you gotta establish what you're using it for. But even if it's something where you just want to keep it active, that consistency and engagement. There's so many guides out there that wonder why they're doing so badly, but they're not answering the people that are taking the time to comment.
And they'll have like
on
4
their
comments
feed.
and there's not one answer.
Nothing. So if we often have 100, 200 comments that we need to answer on a feed,
Every
on a post,
single
and we go back. I mean, if you're just going to give me like a thumbs up, probably going to virtually headbutt you because there's some people do it
If
every.
you guys listen,
Don't
Marlon
give Marlon
loves
a
thumbs up
yeah.
on his
If you give me a
comments.
thumbs up, I'm
Please
going
go
to block
onto
you from
Marlon's feed
Instagram.
and give him thumbs up on
I'm
everything.
literally going to
Yeah.
block and report each one of you.
Spam.
But like I might not reply to that. But if we try and reply to as many comments as we can. We try to promptly reply. We do reply
it's a
to
human
messages in inboxes.
Yeah.
The fact and not just anyone. We get random messages on Instagram. But for me, if you took the time to stop scrolling, to click comment, and to write something on a photograph of mine, I'm trying to think of how often I do it. I do it very seldomly.
Yeah.
So if you take the time and then to consistently, you start getting to know, you get to know the people
You
that
see the
comment.
names.
Yeah.
And it becomes a bit of a, hey, thanks for saying great photo again and appreciate it, I hope you're well. And before you know it, if this is your industry, those people might travel with you.
Yeah.
You don't know who they are. There's some very well-traveled people that never comment, or maybe they'll just comment great photo.
Yeah.
But that person might be your biggest guest,
Yeah.
and so
It
it's
has
just
to start
taking the
from
time.
gratitude.
Yeah.
The gratitude for someone taking the time.
Yeah.
If you can, and it sounds all wishy-washy, let's go hug a dusty type stuff. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's really gratitude for someone taking the time to comment. It's exactly what you
I
say.
love what a friend of ours, Craig Rodney, said the other day. Instead of scrolling down, for somebody to stop and scroll up, to go back
yours.
up again, because you just scroll and scroll and scroll, and you see something you like. For somebody to stop, scroll back up,
Yeah.
and then still to like, and then to comment.
That's it.
And maybe even send you. I've had people send me a message.
Yes.
Brother, great work.
Yeah.
Or people saying, I love what you do. How do I do it? I took the time. I recorded a half-an-hour video the other day in Badikwe, explaining to people how I got to where I am. And I think it's like Jerry said, that gratitude is something that's lost nowadays, and people just take everything for granted, and that's the biggest mistake you can make.
Trevor, from your point, I mean, you've been with us for how long? 6 months now?
Yeah.
December, I think. 7. So, I mean, from when you started, regardless of the guiding, the business, everything, what is the biggest take home that you've seen? Because we've spoken a lot about this, and we have meetings where we talk about social and marketing and branding. What's the biggest thing you've taken away in this couple of months?
So I think if I just look at social media, what I used to do, I used to almost have a schedule for a week in terms of social media. That this goes out this day, this goes out
really?
that out. So and it became.
You're so
it's-
technical and linear, man. It's
It
frightening.
wasn't up to me. So.
This is from the
But-
part-time company you were.
Yeah. And it wasn't enjoyable because it's a structure. So this has to be done at this time on this day. Whereas what I do now is just kind of document my day.
Yep.
It's pretty much up to me what I post, when I post, how I post. But I think the biggest thing, and I've noticed it a lot now over the last 7 months, is just to be real on social.
Yeah.
Whether it's Instagram stories or posting images, don't post images to try and be like somebody else,
Nah.
but post images for you, and so that they showcase, even Instagram stories, to showcase who you are.
Exactly.
Don't try and be something that you're not.
One of the things we're doing now is we've got a meeting on Thursday with a company who's going to kind of help us with a big brand. Because we travel so much, I want someone to help us to do the Wild Eye brand at the top.
Yeah.
And my concern with those things always, and this is the problem with having scheduled posts.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was an earthquake here maybe 3 or 4 years ago in
Yeah.
Johannesburg? One of our most viral posts to date from a personal brand or a company point of view,
Migration has started.
the migration has started. So there was this thing in Johannesburg,
remember that.
and literally in 2 minutes, we took a picture of a crossing, the migration has started, posted that onto Facebook, and that shit went viral. Because it was relevant at the time.
Yeah.
Your schedule cannot always keep relevance in mind.
Yeah.
Today you should be posting something about Mandela, a nice strong line with a Mandela quote, because there's the speech Barack Obama's in town.
Yeah.
Hashtag Barack Obama, there's your hack.
Yeah.
But if you schedule it too far, it's a funny thing. But I think we'll discuss the social thing in more detail. It's fun now and once in a while. But just watch what we do. There's some cool stuff coming up, some new ideas.
Yeah.
Where to next? Marlon, where you go next?
I leave on Sunday, fly to Mana Pools,
Yeah.
and then from there directly onto South Luangwa.
So one trip, back to back.
It's a back-to-back.
Okay.
It isn't scheduled as one trip, but it is a 4 people out of 6 on Mana Pools
Yeah.
are going through for the and filling up the Luangwa trip. And it's one of those places I've been to many times. So I was in South Luangwa a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Actually, that was forgot about that one. I was in South Luangwa,
First.
Serengeti, South Luangwa, Mala. That was my last trip. But anyway, so I go as often as I can because I really love that place,
place is
and it's
sick, yeah.
and it's wild, it's remote, it's everything that I love.
Been there in October,
I'm not going there in October this year.
but you've been in October.
I have been in October.
I'm going in
It's
October, I've never been there.
Oh, it's probably the hottest place you'll ever go to. Like hell is hot, and then you get South Luangwa.
Yeah.
But the game viewing animals are pushed to the extreme. They are hungry, they are thirsty, and except for the predators. So they just wait for buffalo and big game to come down to the river, which is the only source of water.
Yeah.
And it is absolute chaos on that river every single day, without fail. Unbelievable place.
And then from there?
I think there's even a couple of spaces on Johan Safari in October, for those that are keen.
Ooh.
For South Luangwa October, 2 places to be exact.
His email is johan@wildeye.co.za.
Yeah.
Drop him a line. After
But-
that, where are you going then?
So then I go to the Mara, that's for half of August, and then onto the Pantanal.
That's in
That's in September,
September.
of which the 2019 dates have also been
just
released.
been released. Nice. Now after Pantanal, what's your year look like?
Jeez. After Pantanal, I am expecting a baby boy.
Yes, man.
So I get back up from the Pantanal on the 30th of September. The 2nd of October, I get a baby boy.
You hope the red hangs on to him.
The 7th of October, I leave again for back to Zimbabwe. Then I come back on the 19th of October, hopefully to a wife. And then I leave again on the 25th of October, back to Brazil. I come back on the 9th of November, hopefully back to a wife and a baby, 2 babies. And then I leave again a few days after that. So, yeah, it's
That's
looking.
our life, eh?
Yeah, it's looking good.
Trev, where are you going next?
I head up to the Mara on Friday evening.
No, this week.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
this
then?
week. Then it is
That's a migration week.
no Mara experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to just interject here quickly. What we're going to look at next year, and I'm talking kind of more business side of it now. There's the Great Migration safaris and the
Yeah.
Masamara experience safaris.
Yeah.
People don't seem to differentiate how, what, and where.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at is to manage that as one single
Yeah.
product, and then work on a low season and a high season. What are you guys doing?
Piece of muffin.
Okay, I'm not even going to try and explain what happened now. I feel like I should leave and
Wow.
leave these 2 guys alone though. But we're going to take the camp and market the camp
Yeah.
with a low and a high season. So anyway, you're going to carry on, you're going to the Mara next.
Sorry, Marlon just ate a piece of muffin off me, so I've lost my train of thought.
Okay, yeah, so did I. It was disturbing actually.
Sorry, where were we,
You're
G?
going to the Masai Mara and then what?
Yeah, so Masa Mara, then actually going to Kruger for a couple of days with the wife for our 2-year wedding anniversary.
Oh, nice.
No children yet, so I'm not on Marlon's level.
Yeah.
After that, private to Timbavati, then
Yeah.
back up to the Mara, and then Tawny Boy Sabi Sands later on in the year.
Nice, getting nice and busy.
Yeah,
Best way to do it, huh?
yeah, nice to be out there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank
Lots
you.
of good stuff. Marlon, end it all from your side.
The muffin was good.
I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Yes.
It's literally a piece that broke from the muffin before he ate it and fell on his scarf.
Let me-
I've
let
been
me-
watching it for the last 25 minutes, and
I
I've
thought
been
you were
thinking
just
of a
staring
way.
at Trev,
No,
man.
I've been trying to figure out like how I'm going to do
Because
this.
yeah, I was actually getting worried.
It didn't
So-
actually enter his mouth, for the record. But
this whole discussion?
From my side, it was an awesome chat. I think we should do this more often.
Absolutely.
When I see you again in November.
Or somewhere.
But yeah, I think it's great for those listening. Hopefully a lot of you get to know us better, get to know Wildlife better, get to know that we are a legitimate safari company. We are growing.
It is what we do.
We are taking over the safari industry. I've been just this weekend. I've been thinking of I want to write a letter 10 years from now, looking back, and it's something that I'd love to do. I think from a vision point of view, trying to see where we are 10, 15 years from now and work down. And just the thoughts that I had, the possibilities are
Like
incredible.
a letter to my future self. Type.
Exactly, and I promise you, for those who have traveled with us, thank you. For those who are going to travel with us, thank you. You cannot choose a better company. You can't choose a better company to put your experience into. Like it's what we do. It's what we do best.
Yeah.
We really can't follow that up with anything. We should just stop right now.
Yeah.
I say that sincerely and humbly because there are a lot of bad operators out there, and the last thing we want is for you guys to fall into that and think that that is what this experience is about.
I'm going to do a bit of a humble brag here from a company point of view, and this is to back up what you just said. So this morning, Mike just left for, where'd he go? Kenya, Big Cats and Tuskers.
Yeah.
And one of his clients, Kim, flew out and there was all kinds of hell. So this is the exact words, the messages he sent to us now.
Listen to this.
Just had to share with you how badass Tammy and Michael are. Now, Tammy's badass because of Tammy. Mike's just, whatever. No. What was supposed to be a standard flight into Nairobi has descended into the circles of hell. After delays and terrible airport employees, I'll finally get to Amboseli a few hours after the group. Tammy and Mike, but mostly Tammy, have been in constant contact, updating me with options for my arrival and arranging for refunds and alternative accommodations for my very brief stay in Nairobi. And this last bit gets me. While your trips cost a bit more than other companies, you can't put a price on this type of service. Thank you for running such a great company and hiring a team whose sole goal at work is to make guests happy. Consider me a customer for life after this. That just backs up what you just said.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
That's what it's about.
That's it.
Yeah.
One guest at a time, taking over the world.
That's it.
Yeah.
Trev, anything from your side?
Just thanks to the two of you for the chat. Thanks to everyone out there who took the time to listen to this. Really, really appreciate it. If there's any questions that any of you out there may have for any of us, please send them through. We'll gladly get back to you. And like you said earlier, this is just the beginning. Watch the space.
Warming up. So I'm not even going to share email addresses because you probably have it anyway. I hope you follow all of us on Instagram because you should and it's awesome. And until next time, thank you for listening.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
My name is Jerry.
Marlon.
Trevor.
We're from Wild Eye. Chat to you soon. Bye.
Bye.